Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Esports Wales Weekly, the talk show that I host, which brings you the latest gaming news, esports news, and of course, Esports Wales news. I am JakeyBoyPro, and joining me today, we have our first guest. You could say he eclipses the ball in Rocket League with his skill. He's our Rocket League gaming manager. It is Eclipse.
Hi. Yeah, as Jake said, I'm the Rocket League gaming manager. I look after all the teams. I look after all the players. Put them in, find tournaments and stuff for them to put them in. So if anyone's out there is interested to play with us, let me know. I'll get you in.
Bad echo. Okay. Let me try and fix that 1 second before I go on to in. Oh, that's my mic. Haha! I fixed it already. I had my mic on twice somehow. Right, that should be fixed now, hopefully. So moving on to our second guest again, SlayerJohn. He seems to be on the show almost every week. He's a driving force behind Esports Wales. He's our founder. Welcome again, John.
Cheers. I'm dying today, guys, so you'll have less of me talking. Too many beers last night. But, yeah, cool.
Yeah, and for our final guest, we actually have our first guest that is outside of the Esports Wales staff team. I'd like to have you all join me in a warm welcome for Sarah from SavePoint Wales.
Hi there, guys. Yeah, I'm Sarah, director of SavePoint Wales. Yeah, we run gaming tournaments in local communities for gamers with like-minded people. So, yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome, glad to have you here. So, to kick us off, I'm going to talk about, I'm sure, something that's going to have a lot of a nostalgia feel for everyone. Everyone else has an echo too. Okay, let me fix this. 1 second. Nobody should be able to be heard. Right, actually, that should fix it. I'm still getting used to this Skype NDI stuff, so yeah. Hopefully it should be fixed now. If not, something's broken. Either way, yeah, so starting off, we're going to talk about some remakes that have actually come out. So Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, everybody knows, came out recently, well, last year, and they went down an absolute hit. And it seems that Activision are actually hinting at making more remakes. So they're hinting at new content for both Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, which presumably implies that there's going to be more game remakes coming from those franchises. So potentially the second and third game of Spyro and all the rest of the Crash Bandicoot games that have come out. I don't know how many there are. There's a ridiculous amount, but yeah, one of the games that I'd absolutely love to see being remastered or remade, so to say, is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I don't know whether anybody.
I was going to say exactly the same.
Yeah,
I was going to think that's what I thought. I was like, yes, that's definitely it.
I can guarantee that almost everyone has spent most of their childhood on one of those games, if not all of them.
I love that game.
So great.
Nope.
No?
No, yeah, me and Sarah.
no.
No!
I think I played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater like once, maybe, and that was at my cousin's house only because he was obsessed with it.
Oh, no.
That was like one of the first games which is just like all your mates round, and then you just sort of skating around the park.
You take it in turns, and it's so it's so great. Yeah, but okay then. Seeing as both Eclipse and Sarah don't agree with me and John, so to say, what games would you both love to see remade or remastered? Starting with Eclipse, go
on. So this is one that's very I don't know how to call it, but it's a very small game called Downhill Domination, and it was a game I loved, and it's basically about mountain biking, and you can hit people off their bikes and stuff, and it was great fun. And me and my cousin used to play it for hours and hours on end, and yeah, that would definitely be something I'd enjoy to see being remastered. I can't think of any other games at the minute that haven't already been remastered, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And I guess Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex is the only Crash. I would love that back.
That was a great game. But Sarah, what about you? What would you love to see remastered from your childhood?
From Activision specifically now?
No, any game.
Oh gosh. I played very obscure games that a lot of people didn't hear about when I was younger. So things like Crash Bandicoot and things like that I was never into. So yeah, the remakes of them, yeah, they have an appeal for me, but not a nostalgic way that's the same, you guys might feel. But yeah, no game in particular, I guess. I mean, I'm looking at my shelf here, and to be honest, I would not want any game remastered because they were perfect to me as they were. So
That's actually a very interesting way of looking at it. I didn't think of it like that because, like, you've got this image of in your head of when you were a kid and everything was like so great and so amazing. But to have it be remade and you almost have all of that crushed because it's been brought to what the industry standard that we have in these days. But yeah, that's certainly an interesting answer. I wasn't expecting that out of anyone.
Yeah, Diablo 3 done that for me. It was like I loved Diablo 2 and was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And Diablo 3 came out, and it was like it took so long to come out that it was just like, come on, and it came out, and it was just like, it's not the same.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, like I do understand that. There's a lot of games I feel like if it gets remastered, it's not the same. Like, to be fair, the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy, like loads of people hated it because when they came out at first because they couldn't play it like they used to, because it was like they changed it. The hitboxes were smoother, they weren't overhanging in edges and stuff. But to be fair, like I would love the Mass Effect trilogy remastered just so I can play that game without cringing every time like I look at the graphics. Like Mass Effect 2 somehow has better graphics still to this day than Mass Effect 3 does, and I'm just like,
well,
how does that even make sense?
Yeah, it's certainly interesting. There's a couple of games that did get mentioned in chat. Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. That was another game that I absolutely loved growing up, and I can't even remember how I discovered it. I think I accidentally bought it one day, and then I spent like the next week playing it non-stop, and just... it's such great to think about all of the things that that made you into the gamer you are today, I guess. Because without the things that we experienced growing up, you probably wouldn't be in the position you are right now. It's interesting, and I love it. Were you about to say something, John? Sorry.
Oh no, I haven't played that game.
Oh really? Okay.
Like I saw someone say Lion King. I used to love Lion King.
Oh yeah, Okay, that's another topic. Then movie remakes. Is there anything that you'd love to see redone?
Don't get me started.
No, get started. I'm interested now. That sounds.
Yeah. So all these Disney classics that's being made into like live remakes. At first, when I heard that, I was like, "No, don't do that. You're ruining a good film." But I guess because Disney have, I don't know if this is what they've actually said or if it's just what someone made up, but supposedly the reason they're making these live action films is generation who grew up with the films are now older, they've got kids of their own, so it's a kind of bring in a new generational interest, I guess.
Yeah.
So would you say that would be the same for the games, maybe with Crash Bandicoot? They're like, remaking things.
Yeah.
It definitely is.
Yeah, I think that's the same thing. Well, at the end of the day, it's money as well. It's easy. It's you haven't got this. You haven't got to like look in the storyline as much. You haven't got to look at it. Everyone knows the characters. Everyone knows the sort of the style of the game and how it works and that sort of stuff. So they're saving like a lot of time and a lot of marketing, and it allows them to push those games out or films out a bit quicker. But yeah, there's a few games which I'd like to sort of play again. I find what you'll have is the problem going back to old games. You go back to them now, and you're just like, wait, what? The graphics look like this, and you're like, I remember this being like amazing graphics, and you're going back and you're like, what? This is just like stickmen running about. And you still kind of love the game, but it sort of takes away what you, as you said, what you remember, sort of the thing of. But if you have it remastered, you kind of get all the sort of benefits of a new, the sort of next gen graphics, next gen sort of playstyle and things like that. But sort of still playing the storyline, which you loved, and some of the sort of aspects of those games which you loved.
Yeah, to be fair, I like whenever I look back at like RTS games, like the original Age of Empires and stuff, I always wonder, like you compare that kind of game to Civ, and it just looks like worlds apart. But I remember when I was like 5 years old playing Age of Empires for like the first time, it looked so good to me, and it was like, oh my god, like look at all this stuff, look at these buildings, they look so realistic. And I look at it now, and I'm like, well, that looks a bit like looks a bit of crap right there, doesn't it?
It's certainly interesting. I can't wait to see what they actually do come out to be. To actually start remaking. As it said, as the article that I read said, that they are hinting at bringing out some more Spyro and Crash Bandicoot content, and I've not even played either of the current remasters that have come out, and I can't wait to see what else they do. I really can't. So, anybody have any closing thoughts on that quickly?
No,
No?
I'm looking forward to seeing more that come out, and yeah, we need to see if they can sort out Tony Hawk.
Definitely. So moving on, I'm going to have now Eclipse take over for a short little while, and whilst he quickly talks about our next subjects before we start discussing it once again.
Yeah, so recently it came out that the major console makers and just people generally involved with gaming wanted to enforce loot box drop rates. I can't say that fast. Loot box drop rates to be shown in game. A lot of games do it now. I think Apex does it already and stuff like that, and a bunch of games already had this in place. But now a lot of the bigger publishers and things have kind of got to agree, otherwise they just start losing money. So it's definitely something, but I do not think this will dissuade anyone from buying them. I think if anything, they'll just think, "Oh, I've got this much odds. Okay, let's keep doing it." I think they'll see the odds and actually go, "Oh, that's actually a lot better than I thought it was." In a lot of games, anyway. Like I know in Rocket League, for example, it's a 1% drop rate to get a black market decal, and then it's a 5% drop rate for an exotic, which are the two best items, like theoretically. And like a lot of people go, do you know what? If I open enough, I'm gonna get it. Now that I know how much it is. Whereas if it's like 0.001, they have to open like 10,000 crates to guarantee that they get at least one.
Yeah.
So
it's for me, even if I did see the actual percentage chance, I think it would put me off a little bit. Like, we did actually talk about loot boxes and microtransactions not too long ago. I think it was episode 2 or 3 of the show, and that was an entirely huge conversation that went on for far too long.
yeah,
but
let's hopefully not recreate that here.
yes, but as I said on that show, I was stuck in a loop where I was spending a lot of money on a game every single week, in the hopes of getting an amazing skin or a knife or just something that was worth some sort of money. But if I feel personally, if I did see those percentages and it'd be like, really, is that how low the chances? I'd be like, yeah, no thanks. I'll spend my money on something more worthwhile, like a takeaway. You know, I don't know how either of you two feel on it, John or Sarah.
Yeah, for me, it's just kind of like with the sort of randomness. I think like a lot of the game, like they do it to make money because the sort of it entices you. You going for that decal of like that epic decal is it, which is 1%, and then you got to get 100 crates. Potentially you might have in the first one, potentially you might have in the thing, but it pushes then to have that. Where if you had the money to just buy that, it would you would get to a point where you would just buy that straight off, and you wouldn't have wasted the money getting all the other stuff. So I see it from that point of view, but I know sort of there's a lot of people don't like it from the sort of gambling aspect. People don't like it from the sort of you're selling in a bit of luck. From Overwatch and League of Legends, they both do drops, which is random drops. I think that works, and I think it sort of makes sense when it's free and it's enticing you then to just play more. And the more you play, you're more likely to get those drops. I think in regards to the items, when you're putting money into it, I think they should have a monetary value, and it's just a case of you would buy it. But the more rare they are, the higher the value. And okay, some of the stuff on CS:GO, like I remember someone saying they sold a knife skin for like 400 quid, which is like, yeah,
I believe
crazy.
I believe the most expensive knife ever sold on CS:GO is £58,000.
There we go. Yeah, so that sort of stuff is a bit crazy, but then again, yeah, they sort of down that road. I think that's more. I see that sort of as a better standard. So the sort of the other stuff is sort of cheaper, and then you get the rare items, which are actually a sort of a higher value. And if you wanted to buy that, you would have to log in, put money into the game, and then purchase it that way. And sort of see there.
To be fair, in regards to that, Rocket League has just announced. Actually, I know I come back to Rocket League a lot, but it's for obvious reasons.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but Rocket League has just announced that it's I think it's on September 1st or something like that when the new season ends. I think also that's August 22nd. They're scrapping loot boxes and they're gonna just bring in a shop that every week just rotates what's buyable. A lot like Fortnite, which kind of makes sense considering they have just been bought out by Epic. So
Yeah. I think it's a better system. I think like especially for the age group, which like Fortnite targets, and what Rocket League is probably going to be like sort of there's going to be some sort of link over with that. With sort of they can target a younger audience, and you can't target a younger audience when you sort of having aspects of like gambling and stuff in there. Where you can, it's easier to sort of sell the game where you're going, well, this is what it is. This is a shop. You could buy what you want and sort of move on from there.
Sarah, do you have
How
any
about you,
sort
Sarah?
of input on that? Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with what John's been saying. Yeah, I think definitely a shop option is better than something that might come across as gambling, maybe. This topic's a little, I'm not too familiar with things like this. Not that I avoid games with loot boxes, but I just happen to not play anything with loot boxes. So I'm not too familiar with like how they work and systems like that. I guess the only thing I can relate to are physical loot boxes. You can subscribe each month, you get box of merchandise. That's the only thing I can relate to, I guess. Where, one subscription, they would tell you, you can have T-shirts, figurines, badges, blah blah blah. But then when I had them, it had stuff in it that I wasn't fond of, or I didn't like, or of a TV and film I never even heard of. So for me, after 3 or 4, it wasn't worth it. Whereas a different subscription I had was very specific to a fan base that I am hugely part of. So just from that, it attracted me. And they told you can guarantee a specific figurine each box. And that I bought into that for like 2 years. So knowing you're definitely going to get something is worth it. But without knowing the odds, I wouldn't risk that personally myself.
That's fair enough. Everyone has their own opinions and viewpoints on the actual subject. And personally, I think it would, having those odds in front of me would put me off. It doesn't. It's an interesting topic, and I don't want to spend too long on it, and I could spiel on it all day. So, any other closing thoughts on that one quickly? Nope. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Actually, I do have a slight question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like I said, I don't know much of the topic, but do you guys think the amount that people pay to get these items is worth it? Because at the end of the day, it's a digital item for a game, not a physical item. Do you think it's worth it?
Well,
or is that depending on the game?
Well, the same thing can be said. Like I currently, if I turn my camera to looking above where my monitor is, I currently have like £300 of the Fallout merchandise. But I'm never going to use it. It's the same as having it in the game. I'm never going to actually touch it. Like I've got the nuke, I've got the Pip-Boy, I got the helmet. I'm never going to use them like ever, but I bought them because they're decorative, and it's like I think Jakey actually brought it up in the week 3 when we actually went over this topic. He was like, a lot of people like to look good in games and stuff, and that is where the monetary value comes from, is that the economy is purely based on opinions, which can be both detrimental, but like in something like CSGO, having a special knife is coveted. Like you usually accept it as a good player. Even if you're actually horrendous, you are known as a good player if you have a good knife, because they just expect you to only spend that much money if you're decent at the game. And like I know, like for example, the Dragon Lore AWP skin. Now people think you're a god tier AWPer if you have that skin, because you wouldn't spend $2,000 on a skin for your gun if you're not going to use it a lot. like, do you know what I mean? So
Go ahead, John.
So like in regards, I don't know, because I can see it's I think it's just a different. The reason why they're making these games, the reason why they're doing is profits, and I don't know. There's different ways they could do it, but I think that's it's always supply and demand. So like in regards to people paying stuff for a digital item can be a bit sort of strange. and yeah, I sort of understand that. But yeah, in regards to sort of, it is a way for the game to make money and make profits, and it tends to make then more money from people who spend more time in the game. So I see that sort of as a sort of a better structure. It's still not a perfect structure, as you said. It's like you're paying, some of the stuff is paying like silly money for things, but yeah, I think it's a better structure in the way sort of to sort of build up games and sort of move forward with things. It's seems to be good.
Well, it's like Fuquan literally just said in chat, and this was the point I was going to make on this. It's just like fashion. People will spend extra money for the brand name. Oh, I want to wear Stone Island. Why? It's not any better quality.
You mean Esports Wales?
Oh yeah, Esports Wales. Hey, we don't charge extra. This is quite cheap. 25 quid for a jersey. Hell yes. But yeah, it's exactly the same. People want to look good. People feel that looking good will like improve their social status. It's the same thing. It's the same premise. It all comes down to the human nature. I'd say it's all about I want to look good because it makes me feel good.
Yeah,
that's
fair,
what I think anyway.
Like, I just want to put one last thought in this: is there's a lot of games that have loot boxes and stuff. That, especially if they're esports oriented, like Dota, Smite, Rocket League, CS:GO, even actually any Valve game. If you buy keys within that game, it's typically about half the price or whatever that you buy goes into the prize pools in the next major that they hold.
Yeah.
Like, I know Rocket League. I know Rocket League does it. Dota has the internationals like thing, doesn't it? It has like a badge it does that you buy.
Yep.
Yeah. Smite did that for their first World Championships, but like when people know that is also a part of it, they're also a lot happier because they know they're spending half of it to improve the esports of a game that they love. And so I guess in that sense, it probably gives you more than just fashion because it gives you. It'd be the same as if you every time you bought a shirt, half of it went to charity.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the international, it is happening in 2 weeks. The weekend that we are at Insomnia, a couple of us are at Insomnia. So if you do want to watch that, make sure you do check in with the Dota 2. I think it's ran by ASL. I'm probably wrong, actually, in that fact. Make sure you do check out that, because that is Dota's biggest event. So it's a good thing you brought that up, Eclipse. Moving on with that closing thought from Eclipse there, we're going to go on to some news from within Esports Wales, and we're going to have John to talk about some of the AHC results from this week.
Okay. So this is week 3 in the HC, the All Heroes Cup. So Tan, we played Unreal Kittens, and unfortunately we lost 4-0. It was a tough game. I think we're still sort of struggling because we're a brand new team this season. We're still struggling to gel and get on that. But we've got practice again on Tuesday, and hopefully we can come into the next game and sort of with a bit of improvement and go from there. Team Yar smashed it. You had Waffles on Hammond playing up to his skin, and it was an amazing game to watch. It was some really close games, but they won 4-0, complete opposite, and they were playing cannon fodder. So I think they're 3 for 3 with. I don't think they've lost a point yet.
So 2 for 2. They've only played 2 games.
2 for 2. Yeah. Sorry, they missed a week, didn't they? But yeah, they. I don't think they've lost a game yet or round yet. But yeah, they've got a couple more coming up, and it's going to be interesting to see how they get on. But it's looking good for them. So I think it's going to be streamed Thursdays.
Yep, Thursday at 7 p.m.
So if you guys are interested in watching some Overwatch, come along and show your support to one of the teams. Yeah,
okay. So, as John said, if you do want to come by, Team Yar will be taking on D-City Gaming, who they took on in the first week. And then Team Tan will be playing Faster Than Meow, who they played also in the first week. Is that going to be streamed on your channel, John, or are you not sure yet?
I'm not sure yet. It'll probably be one of us which will be streaming it.
No worries.
But we might sort out a different Twitch or something to run. But
yeah. So as per usual, we're going to do our lovely little merch plug that we do almost every week, and I'm probably going to lose everyone's voice here. Might not now, actually. Yeah, we have our lovely merch on show. All of the hoodies, black and white, men's t-shirts. Link is in chat. Female red tank top you've seen on screen. A lovely little, is that a baseball tee? And there's a varsity jacket. There's all sorts that you can come and buy. Come and spend your money. Support Esports Wales. It's all great merch. The jersey that I have, it's so comfortable, and all I've heard from the actual everyone else that's purchased the merch is that it's great. So if you do want to go and buy some, the link is in chat. Yeah, go ahead and do it. Along with the merch, we are still doing our giveaway. When does that end, John? It's quite soon, isn't it?
16th.
16th. So 5 days. You've got 5 days if you want to enter our competition to.
Go on, sorry. So 16th will end, and then it'll be. What we'll probably do is announce the person who sort of won on the Esports Weekly that week.
For next week, yeah. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
If you do want to get into the giveaway, the link will be in chat. Make sure you do it quick. There's only 5 days left, and the winner will be announced this time next week on Esports Wales Weekly. So yeah, we will be attending I-65, which I did mention shortly. We are planning a meetup, and we do have numerous members attending the BYOC section. If you do have a BYOC ticket and would like to sit with Esports Wales, make sure you drop me a message on Discord. JakeyBoyPro #2188 on Discord, or you can find me in the user list of our Discord channel. We only have 3 seats remaining in our row, so first come, first served. And as Sarah is on the show this week, we are going to be getting a little bit of an insight into what SavePoint Wales is all about. So, go ahead, Sarah. Tell us, what do you do?
Do you want like a bit of an origin story first?
Yeah, go ahead. That would be great, actually.
I guess. So yeah, there was just a group of us. We came together on a 12-week course. Interested in starting our own business of some sort. And we just found we just bonded over gaming, right? Just talking about it, and we decided, yeah, that's something that, because we got the common theme of that, we'll create something to do with gaming. So yeah, the one thing that we found was a lot of us had online friends or clans that we got along with, but we might not have had like real life friends perhaps, or who are into the same gaming as us. So that's where the idea of SavePoint came from, where we'll actually create something in our community for like-minded gamers to come together, meet new people. So that's where the idea spawned from. So we had mostly been hosting tournaments and small events in like local communities and such like that. And yeah, the turnout was brilliant. And to be honest, I didn't think something like that was going to be popular, because I wasn't that into gaming or the gaming scene. So everything for me is completely new, especially the competitive sports. I didn't think that was quite as serious as it actually is. But yeah, so where we are now, like 2 years later, we actually have our own venue now on Blackwood High Street. We've only been open a week. It was like a very quiet opening. So next week we're hoping to be a bit more louder about it, because we actually got some events running now. Gaming events and tournaments, that's what we're all about, and the whole social side of it. And yeah, social. That's the main keyword.
Yeah, I think one of the great things for sort of what SavePoint is doing is sort of bringing that. It's one of the ideas which is being sort of Esports Wales, and it's bringing where like before, like I used to play in clans and stuff when I was younger. I was playing in clans, and like some of the guys were like, even if it was European, it was like Norway. There was a guy in Scotland. There was one guy in England. 2 guys or 3 guys from Norway, and 2 Welsh guys. We was playing CS 1.6, and you could never have that thing of like going like, oh, let's have a meetup, because no one can ever get there. It's better like these days with Insomnia, where you can like people in the UK, and some people do like fly over for Insomnia, and you get a meet up there. But even then, it's quite hard. Where like with us, it's what we've had a couple of meetups now, like throughout Wales, and it's like different events going on, and people can like yeah, just like go down the pub or whatever if they want to and things like that. It's like with Cardiff the other day in the Arcade Vaults, there was a few of us able to pop along, and no one sort of well out of the way. Is sort of easy enough to get down to Cardiff and sort of sort that out. And we're looking at doing some more meetups around the country. But it's great to see sort of other companies or organizations doing the same thing, of bringing in like sort of trying to build that sort of community. And I think that's what esports and what gaming is really sort of missing, is because everything's like online and everything's sort of connected that way. That you lose that that sort of that social side, which I think is what we're trying to do as EsportsWales and what we're trying to what you guys are trying to do in SavePoint.
Yeah. I don't know what else to add at the moment, but yeah.
What sort of events and tournaments have you got planned so far?
It's been a little tricky, but at the moment the definite ones are Sunday today, isn't it? So yeah, Monday, tomorrow. I'm losing track of days this week. So yeah, tomorrow we're doing a bit of a Minecraft challenge, 2 till 4. Tuesday, I think that's a little unclear because the poster went missing, so that's not been advertised. So Tuesday we're not doing anything apparently. This is what happens when you open up a venue, and yeah.
I can imagine it's been a headache.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Wednesday, Rocket League, which has had a lot of interest. I am not surprised by that.
To be fair, 3 of our players for Esports Wales live like down the road from you guys, so it wouldn't surprise me if they're the ones that win the majority of the time.
Well, one of them's running it, to my knowledge.
Yeah, well, the reason why Tails joined was because I went to a SavePoint event in Bargoed.
It was Bargoed about a month ago, That's where we first met.
Yeah, and that's how the reason why Tails ended up joining.
Yeah, I didn't even know who he was. I mean, it was only like last 2 weeks ago. Someone said, "Oh yeah, there was some sort of professional esports player, Rocket League. I toured Bargoed tournament." I was like, "Oh, okay." That was quiet.
Cool.
But professionally.
We'll get him there. We'll get him there.
So Rocket League 4 till 7. That's downstairs, and then we're opening our upstairs room for a 17+ Cards Against Humanity event run by one of our volunteers.
Ooh.
So
that sounds fun.
Yeah, that sounds like some good fun.
And then depending if we have internet, fingers crossed, because that's been a pain to try and sort out. Hopefully we'll run Fortnite Fridays. So not that I'm into Fortnite, but it was going to get the crowd in and jumping on the bandwagon there.
It'll definitely get people in. You'll have all the kids from the area.
Oh yeah.
They'll be like, "Oh, I'm the best." To be fair.
Go on. Oh, no, go on.
It's your part. I don't know what I'm thinking.
And then Saturday we got a Sonic speed run. So anyone could come in. We have a leaderboard, like chalkboard thing, so anyone could just write their name on it if they beat the high scores. And yeah, it's a bit of a casual week. It's not like serious tournaments or anything. So it's very much like just gauging what the community's like. Do these days and times work? Like some people have already said the Rocket League 4 till 7's a bit. They're working and such. So we're hoping to change that time maybe, depending on the community what they want. I mean, it is a community social space. Like, it's not me running games that I like, because if that was the case, everyone's playing Animal Crossing. I'm telling you that now. So yeah, it's very much a community place.
Yeah, with regards to the times, I think you're going to have to, like, you'll find it shifts quite regular, and it shifts because like you've got sort of uni holidays, school holidays, and that sort of stuff, and then just people's general sort of work and sort of winter and stuff. Like summer, you might get people out more, and then winter sort of more indoors and that sort of stuff. But it's definitely sounding good.
Yeah, I'd definitely say during the summers you're more likely to get 4 to 7 working, whereas the later you go in the year, it's going to have to be more like 6 to 8 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think depending on rotas and shifts, we may open a little bit late and close a little bit late as well. Because at the moment, I've just been saying 1 till 7 most days, just because that's more convenient for me. But depending how things go, we will have to change that.
Okay, so what sort of actual equipment have you got there in terms of consoles, PCs, and whatnot?
It's more consoles at the moment. So we got like Switches, PS4s. There is an Xbox 360, but I'm not relying on that at the moment. And then later down the line, we are hoping if we get another grant now, to maybe do PCs upstairs, because we have had people saying, "Oh yeah, when are you doing like Call of Duty and things like that?" Yeah, it entirely depends on funding, unfortunately. But yeah, hoping we'll get more stuff in, more TVs, more posters, because it doesn't look like we're open at the moment. The front of the shop is just so bare, other than that gigantic Sonic the Hedgehog head. So everyone's been
Or
wearing
the
that
dancing,
dancing.
yeah, the dancing Sonic.
Yeah.
Although I
Yeah,
could
that
pull
was
off
my.
quickly.
Yeah, I tried to do the floss and actually managed to do it. So that was the first wearing the entire costume.
I want to see a video of this.
Oh wait, I've got one.
I've
Well,
not
it's
got
on
the
the
video. One of
Twitter.
the volunteers does.
On the Twitter. I'm gonna just pull it. I'm gonna pull it up just because we
Oh,
can.
that wasn't
This
me,
is
Dan.
this is the fun. If you want to view it.
Yeah, boy.
Add a quick.
Yeah, that video is not me. I'm just gonna point that out.
Oh, there's no other videos. Damn it.
I've not been sent it yet, but as soon as I do, I'm gonna point it up because it was hilarious.
Here we go. Here's Sonic dancing in the window of SavePoint. That's absolutely amazing.
I'm not gonna name names who that was, but she's probably gonna kill me now. So.
Well, there's no names, so it's fine. It's great. We're not gonna take that off screen now. It's there for the rest of the show. No, but honestly, everything that you're doing is absolutely sounding great. And if I wasn't from the north of Wales, I'd certainly pop in. But it's a bit of a trek, so.
To be fair, I am from West Wales. It's not much better.
Yeah, true. But honestly, everything you are doing, it sounds great. It sounds like although you've had a slow start, which is with any business, any opening, it sounds like it hopefully will take off soon.
Oh yeah, once the signage is there, because at the moment we still got the previous tenants at the top. So everyone's looking at the window like, "Oh, what's this?" And they look up like, "Oh, okay, well that's not bad." So.
Yeah, I think it'll
anyone got
like,
any? Sorry, John.
No, as it grow, it'll sort of, you'll get more regular and things like that, and you'll find stuff which will work and find the stuff which doesn't work, and just keep going. And then we'll definitely see if we can sort out some sort of event there at some point, and
yeah, meetups or something. That'd be great.
Yeah, definitely.
see if we can get you down, Jake, and get you across Eclipse.
No, I'll be down.
Cool.
Any other questions for Sarah before we move on? No? Anything you want to say, closing points from you, Sarah, on SavePoint?
Yeah, we're welcome to ideas on how to, expand or make it better, because at the moment it's just, not including the volunteers who have been absolutely wonderful, by the way. It is just me and the other director, Kieran, but he's very busy with child on the way, so it's mostly me at the moment. So any help in regards to how to do anything, send them my way. Any advice?
It might be worth how would they go about, because there's a couple of people in chat which live sort of not far away. How would they go about sort of volunteering for the shop or like helping out?
Pop a message to us on social media or our email. Just express an interest or pop in the shop when we're open, and any volunteers is great. I mean, there's a variety of roles. So for example, Tails, he is setting up our Discord for us, so I'm gonna leave. He's gonna be in charge of that for me because I haven't a clue how to use Discord. So technology is not my forte, and here I am running a gaming shop. So so whether you were interested in running your own community night maybe, or just helping out on the retail side or social media, anything. I mean, we're flexible with what anyone wants to do. So yeah, give us a message.
Cool.
Great, awesome. Well, SavePoint is open 1 till 7 most days, with multiple different events on. Well, hopefully.
I am going to put up the schedule tonight of opening times, because I found 1 till 7 was not quite working out, so it's definitely going to be changing. I'll put out the schedule tonight, and yeah, keep an eye out there.
Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, any queries you do have regarding SavePoint Wales, their Twitter handle is on screen underneath Sarah's camera right now, so go ahead and do give them a follow, get involved with what's going on over on their social media, and I'm sure if you throw 100 questions at her, Sarah will get through them eventually. Yeah, but moving on, we're going to talk about some now general esports news. And this weekend actually saw a PUBG Nations Cup take place, which is almost like the World Cup for PUBG. It brought together players from all across the world. They got split into teams of their nationality. So, for instance, there was Team UK, Team South Korea, Team Russia, There's 16 different teams, all from across the world, representing different countries. And sadly, although there was 15 matches that took place across 3 exciting days filled with death, destruction, and defeat, Team United Kingdom sadly didn't perform that well across the event, ending in 15th out of 16.
We need a Team Wales.
I was going to say, I think we need to split them up so Team England and Scotland and Ireland can all do bad, and then Team Wales just leave them in the dust, so to say. But after watching some of the teams perform in the cup, it's not at all surprising. The PUBG esports scene is absolutely insane, especially in Asia, which is where the game is developed and got a huge following over there. And watching some of the players play, I'm just like, it doesn't make sense how they're that good. But the winners of the cup actually ended up being Team Russia. They beat out Team South Korea by a mere 4 points. But alongside the actual competition and how it all went down, what I was most amazed by was the actual production and the viewership of the actual event. For most of the event, they overtook 100,000 watches on the main stream alone. So it's absolutely insane that a game that arguably easily got took over by Fortnite is still pulling in those huge numbers of viewership and the amount of production that goes into the event. It's for the opening ceremony, they had an entire orchestra on stage just to play the theme song of PUBG. It was absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to watch the next PUBG event. Well, the next huge PUBG event, which is the PUBG Global Championship, starting on the 8th of November, continuing all the way until the 24th. So that is a long event with 32 teams battling out to become the global champion of PUBG. Yeah, I think that's it for the PUBG Nations Cup. I don't know if anybody has anything to say on that.
Yeah, well, I think sort of from like what you're saying about the PUBG getting the viewers, I think one of the things which kind of works for battle royales is that it doesn't really matter about your skill level as such. Like you can play on and you can still be entertaining and play in that game, and it's not that you you can play in the same sort of field and sort of play that that game. You might play a different style and stuff, but it's quite entertaining to watch. I think some of the other games can be sort of, you can struggle to sort of get that sort of that viewership following. But yeah, it's great to see there's sort of, there's still a market out there for it. I know you guys had a laugh doing the Chucky for charity with special effects.
Such great fun.
And yeah, sort of if they carry on and sort of keep building it, should be great. Like and yeah, I'm surprised. Surprised we haven't seen anything from Apex. Something on the same level. I would have thought this would have been the direction they would have pushed it, but it doesn't seem like it is at the moment. But yeah, we'll sort of look at that and see how it goes.
To be fair, I just want to firstly add, I didn't even know PUBG had a theme. Second, theme tune anyway. And secondly, I do remember when I was playing PUBG that it was good fun to go on Asian servers because of how easy it was to win. So that surprises me that that's now turned around completely.
Well, it's the majority of Asian players aren't their best, but then you have the almost the 1%, so to say, that are just absolutely in another world. Like you will not keep up. I was watching some of the plays of them, and it's just like the speed at which their mind processes what's in front of them is ridiculous. Like they'll see a player running to the left, and they'll know exactly where to aim, the exact trajectory which they need to fire, and they'll just wipe them off the earth. It's ridiculous. Go on, sorry.
To be fair, Russians are a bit like that with FPSs in general.
Yeah, they
like
are.
the majority of Russians seem to be absolutely horrendous, but then most of the top tier Russians are so good that you're just like, how is the rest of this country not good?
Yes.
Grassroots.
Yeah, it's all down to the grassroots and pushing it from not an early age, so to say, but pushing it as soon as you can with it. And moving on to that, I think John wants to talk about a Welsh player actually placing very high in a Smash tournament that happened last week.
Yeah, well, I've seen it on, I don't know what I've seen. It might have been Twitter or something like that.
I think you got tagged in some.
Yeah, it was the Smash feat, is it? With Setchi coming second. So the tournament was held in Stoke-on-Trent. It was a UK-based tournament, and you had people from all over flying in for it. And yeah, he took place, and I don't think he was expected to sort of finish that high. I know he's a good player, but I think in other tournaments he's sort of hasn't placed as high even though some of the Welsh ones. So it's great to see him sort of coming second there. It's great sort of getting sort of more Welsh players playing in that. I think the person who won it was American Face Roll.
Yeah, Face Roll is his name, I think.
Oh, okay. He managed to sort of beat them there. But yeah, hopefully we'll get more of this stuff. I know this weekend, yesterday, I can't remember the hotel, but in Cardiff you had Cooper's Kingdom, another Smash tournament running. And they had quite a few people down and sort of playing that. So you can see Smash is sort of building, and you're getting more and more players. We went to something in Arcade Vaults, Fight Night, which is not Smash, but like Tekken and that type of stuff. And you're getting people sort of meet up and playing, which seems to be a good way to do it. The only thing with Smash, which sort of I'm like, I wish they had that, was better connectivity online. But that sort of where you could sort of play more, and it's not more of an event which you kind of you're able to play sort of with your mates and run sort of more online tournaments and sort of get that. But that's the only thing which I sort of would like to see more of with it, and that more development through there. But
to be fair, Karen. Oh well, Smash just added a tournament mode in their client, so.
Oh, have they really?
Yeah, you can play it on the game now.
Oh, okay, right. That's interesting.
There we go then. So about time. But yeah, it's I don't play Smash myself, but it's good to see Welsh players sort of doing well on the UK level.
Yeah, it's it's such an amazing feat because he's actually not in the top 10 in Europe. He's not. Yeah. He's only third in the UK at Smash.
Well, I don't know if he even on the Welsh scene. I thought there was one or two players which rank higher in them. They might have changed after he won this tournament. But
it's an amazing feat either way. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get more. Building up that scene and more people playing and doing well in Smash.
Yeah, so, okay, moving on. Eclipse, you want to talk about a Rocket League that's starting up. I did actually see this myself, but didn't look into it, so I'm certainly interested to see what you have to say.
Yeah, so pretty much, there was recently an announcement from Rocket Baguette, which is the French Rocket League community. They host a wide variety of things. They cast for like RLCS and stuff, all in French. And they've always held a tournament every 3 months, I think it is, called RBRS, or Rocket BS Rising Stars. Now, recently, with backing from Psyonix, I believe, they've set up a Superstar League, which is effectively a Champions League, like in football. Yeah. So it spans a lot of European countries. It has Belgium, it has all the lowlands, it has Germany, Austria, Scandinavia, Switzerland, France, the UK, which is what I wanted to focus on, Spain, Italy, and Portugal. So that's effectively the entirety of Europe. There's obviously clear Eastern European countries being left out. However, there is so Rocket Kingdom, which is the British Rocket League Discord. We are hosting a we are hosting the British and Irish version of the Rising Stars League, which I believe if you place top 4, you get put into the Superstar League, which is, as I said, the Champions League. So effectively, each one is below. It's just a qualifier and like a subsidiary league to the Superstar League. And so it's a very promising direction for Rocket League to be going in, because it's been needing a lot more tournaments and things to keep the esports scene going. And it's definitely an interesting one. We're hoping to see what comes out of the Italian and the Portuguese versions, but other than that, it should be really good.
Is there going to be any restrictions on this on your location?
I believe the only thing is you have to play. If you say, for example, you can't be Danish playing with a British person. You have to be
Same nationality.
Yeah, so you need to be within the UK and Ireland, as far as I know. However, a lot of these leagues have, especially in Rocket League, have 2/3 rules. So if 2/3 are from a certain league, you can bring in a Danish person or something to be your third in that league. So, But as of right now, I know, for example, like I haven't announced it yet in our Discord, because I've been learning about it myself. But there's already been talk of a couple of the boys in the Rocket League General talking about setting up a team for it. So that'll be nice. We hopefully get all 3 teams in, and we'll be good to go.
Yeah,
glad to see, hopefully to see them take part and get involved. And I think that's pretty much everything in terms of topics for this week. We have had one question. If anybody else does have any questions, make sure you do put them in chat. Tag at EsportsWales, so I don't miss them, preferably. So iHorizon asks, question for all. Are there any games, not necessarily esport related games, that you are looking forward to that are releasing soon? So, Eclipse, why don't you start us off?
Well, now, if I had known this question, I could have prepared a bit more.
I mean, they come in on the fly. Come on.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just thinking. No, it's more of I'm trying to think what is coming out soon, because I'm assuming he's not asking for games that are coming out in 2021 or something. He's asking about games that come out at the end of this year.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Yes.
So, I guess it's not really a game, but it is a DLC to a game. I'm looking forward to Shadowkeep coming out for Destiny 2, and it going free to play on the 17th of September. I'm also looking forward to the new COD, because I don't think I've actually been slightly hyped for a COD since Black Ops 3, and even then I was let down. So, so I'm looking forward to, I'd say, the release of Shadowkeep for Destiny 2, and the change from a paid system to a free to play. And then COD is probably the only game I can think of off the top of my head that comes out very soon that I want to play.
Okay. John, what about you? You looking forward to anything?
One for me is Call of Duty. I'm looking forward to, like, everyone seems hyped with the new Call of Duty. And it's just a case of getting people playing together and getting their like big group and having like all like Battlefield games as well as having other things. I know it's still rumored, potentially something from Overwatch and Blizzard. I think that we'll hear about that sort of BlizzCon. There's some other stuff. It's like, Borderlands, the Halo stuff. The Halo stuff I'm looking at. Those are the main ones. I know there's some other things sort of coming up, but those are the sort of main ones for me. Just kind of sort of moving forward with that. I like the sort of TFT stuff. Like most of the games which come out now, they kind of come out of nowhere, which are the games which I like enjoy playing and play for a bit. The TFT, the Team Fight Tactics from Riot. Then you had Apex before that, playing that for a bit. That was quite enjoyable. But yeah, at the moment I'm still Overwatch seems to be the one I'm playing. And yeah, it just sort of more support with that. I know what's called WoW Classic is out. I'm not a big
I
WoW
was going to say that.
Yeah. Are you a big WoW player or?
Yeah, I don't raid or anything with other people. I just like play by myself with that one. But yeah, I go in on Legion with that. So I've never played the old stuff. So for me, Classic will be interesting, I guess.
Yeah. Well, like it's bringing us back to like the first question with the remaking games and
Yeah.
sort of bringing out. Go on.
Oh no, go on.
Yeah, it's just having that nostalgia, and I think like a lot of people are, sort of pushing for that. There's some other stuff, but I think those are the main ones for me. Like I tend to go with what the community goes with as well, a lot. So some of the games, like if I want to pick it up, because most of the enjoyment for me is playing sort of with people and sort of having those games where you've got that sort of the communication and that teamwork going together and that sort of stuff. It's like if you pick up a game and then you haven't got that, it kind of like, well, I'll play it for a bit, but it just feels like a single player game a bit, and loses some of that that draw for me.
So what else on top of WoW Classic are you looking forward to, Sarah, if anything?
Again, obscure one. So Minako's Night Market on the PC and Switch. Yeah, I thought you dug that hole.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, you're kind of like a farmer with a herd of cats, basically, just to sum it up.
Sounds interesting.
So other than that, probably the Animal Crossing New Horizons next year. That's because I'm an Animal Crossing fan. That's like the one I'm looking forward to the most.
Oh, that's fair enough.
I've want to put in, but it's like another thing. It's not out. It was sort of out. It's the thing. It's comical. Last night I was drinking with someone, and they were like, "Oh, John knows those games. Speak to him about it." So I was speaking to someone who's it's a Welsh guy who's looking at filming some stuff for Star Citizen, and the 3.7 patch. So he was chatting to me about that for a bit. And yeah, that's it sounds like they're going to have a big drop in when is it? CitizenCon, October time, for the 3.7 patch. So there's going to be some big things coming there if you're any of your Star Citizens fans.
Oh yeah, it's pretty much everything else that's been mentioned, bar Sarah's, I'm looking forward to. Call of Duty Modern Warfare Remaster, I really can't wait for that. There's the Master Chief Collection that's coming to PC. I know it's already out on Xbox, and I just can't wait for that to come out on PC and just sitting down with 3 friends and just playing through every single game. It's just there's so much good stuff that's coming out that it's hard to put it all down to one, I guess. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm looking forward to, simple as that. So moving on to the next question that we just got from Tipner. He asks, will Esports Wales be looking to set up competitive teams when Modern Warfare releases in October? John?
Esports Wales, our goal is to support competitive gaming through Wales and do that. So if we get enough players who can play together in a sort of decent standard, then and also there's the support for the esports within Call of Duty and getting those tournaments and all that set up, and yeah, we would. It's like any game, if we can gather players and we'll support them and sort of push those games. There's a couple of stuff which we're still trying to support and sort of improve those games, and some of those still need to be looked at and sort of fine-tuned and stuff on our side. But what we want to do is once we start getting those ones, we'll start expanding and getting more and more games. And potentially it might not be 4 teams, but potentially, could be like 1 or 2 teams which we'd run with it. So the answer is maybe.
And the answer is hopefully. We don't
hopefully.
really want to miss out on that opportunity, do we? So, next... Yeah, of course, sorry.
Depends. No, it just depends on what support is there, what sort of things. Until we sort of see, like I know there's been Call of Duty stuff in the past. Some of that's been controller based, or most has been controller based. We were speaking about that last week, was it, or the week before? And saying like like some people always play with the controller, even on PC. So there's going to be a bit of we're gonna have to just see what comes out now, if it's in and who picks it up and that sort of stuff, and we'll go from there. But yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, and a quick last one to finish. Should Activision remaster Splinter Cell? I didn't play Splinter Cell when I was younger, so I can't really answer.
No.
No?
It's one of those games that I feel like if they remaster it, it's just going to make it worse.
Okay, interesting.
It's the same with GoldenEye. I would never want GoldenEye remastered.
Oh, yeah, you wouldn't want that. No. John, any input on that?
Mine's a no, but it's it's the same for GoldenEye. It's the same for Home Alone. You can't remaster Home Alone. It's a good film. No, leave it. Then
I'm assuming Sarah won't have an input on Splinter Cell.
I never even heard of it, sorry.
Oh,
so
that's
the answer then
completely
is
fine.
yes. It needs to be remastered so Sarah can play.
And I think that is everything from this week. Join us again next week. Next week will be primarily focused on Insomnia 65. We have a very special guest in the form of Reaper Steve, hopefully joining us to hopefully promote some of the stuff that he will be doing there. So if you will be attending I-65, make sure you do stop by next week to get all of the info on what's going on with us, who will be there, and whatnot. So, yeah, I would like to say thank you to Eclipse, to Sarah, and to John, all for joining me this week. Any closing thoughts from any of you on this show?
I'd say, if you haven't entered the competition, enter the competition because you've got 1 week to enter. So, less than a week. See if you can win a Welsh jersey, and then hopefully next week on the show, pop along and you can find out who won.
I want to just say that I want to kind of congratulate the majority of the boys in the Rocket League teams. A bunch of them have just recently gotten GC for the first time, and they've gotten their rewards, except for Tails. He's lagging behind. He keeps complaining that we're playing without him, even though that's just
He's too busy. He's too busy. He is.
The thing is, he tells us he can't play, and then we play, and then he gets annoyed that we don't play with him. So I just want to say congrats to if any of them are watching. Well done to them.
That's good.
Hopefully our
Definitely
teams
good.
will be excelling. I think we've now got 7 GCs, including all
That's
the
great.
new. So he's got 7 of the highest rank, which effectively means we should be able to make 2 teams fully GC.
That's good. That's
If
very good.
Tails gets GC, but I'm expecting him to at this rate. So so yeah.
Anything from you, Sarah?
Thanks for having me here. It's been great talking to you guys.
Yeah, and
everyone get down and go and visit SavePoint.
Yeah, I'm terrible at self-promotion.
If I'm ever down that way, I'll try and pop in, but I'm not usually down that way.
You can get in. You can get Ron Steele, Tails, and who's the other guy who lives close? But yeah, you can get those guys together.
Ivo lives near. I know.
Yeah, Mike lives nice.
Mike lives near. Yeah.
Someone else lives near as well. I don't know who his name is. So I just know he lives there.
Yeah, get him down. You could get some Rocket League games.
Well, either way, I think that's everything. Thank you all once again for being here. Thank you to everyone that's been in chat. Thank you for your questions. Make sure you do sign in next week with us and join the Discord. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Do everything.